bumper going on. All right. Guys, we are back on the Dr. Dali Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So the majority of you, don't worry, I doubt are addicted to porn, because if you were addicted to porn, you wouldn't be right now listening to my show. Unless you're looking at porn while you're listening to my show, which kind of is a little creepy. But if you're watching Facebook Live or listening to my show, you're probably good. But porn addiction is huge. It's really startling the amount of people that watch porn. And I think I'm going to start watching it, because I really haven't, I'm really honest about this. I didn't need to, because, I was like working 36-hour shifts, right? And then when I came home, there was my husband. And so, we really barely had time, right, to have sex, let alone to waste time on a 15 or 30-minute video. And so, but I kind of want to watch and see what it is that is just so addictive, because porn addiction is just like any other addiction, whether it's an opiate, whether it's tobacco, whether it's alcohol, whether it's a drug. There's some sort of a reward center, and it's not just from having sex or doing a self session while watching it or whatever. There's something more to people just wanting to watch it. And I told you guys, we were in Amsterdam, and it's like, oh my gosh, the lines were out the door to see these shows. There's not, and I get, when you're in Amsterdam, you want to do as the Amsterdamians do. You want to see, I get how, you just want to see it because of the sensationalistic aspect of it. But there are people that watch porn all the time. So how do you know if your porn habit is addictive? Okay. And, a lot of people, they feel guilty about watching porn. You don't have to feel guilty. Animals in general, and I see this with my cats. Whenever Shakaboo is like the male, and whenever he gets on top of one of the other cats, I would think all the other cats are like, okay, let's give you privacy. No, they all want to watch. There's something about animals having sex that other animals want to watch. So I don't know what that is. I'm not exactly sure where, if it's in the amygdala or the hippocampus. I'm not sure where that would happen in the brain. So, the fact that somebody, if they, see that, or there's something going on in a window in a building next door, they want to watch it. Okay, that doesn't mean you have to start putting them on 7 different medications. But apparently there are many people that they can't get through work without looking at porn. They would rather look at porn than spend time with the kids. Wife and the kids, or husband and the kids are getting ready to go to church, and the spouse wants to, I'm sick today, and instead look at porn. Okay, that's a problem. Not that church is more fun, I get that, but, if it's starting to interfere with your life and your work, and you can't go a day or an afternoon or a morning or an evening, you might be addicted to porn. Now, the problem with using the A word, the addiction word, is then people are very reluctant to get treated. They're like, oh, no. If I say that's what's going on with me, then I have this stigma, and no, I don't want to go there. It's okay, to admit to yourself, nobody has to hear, if you think you have an issue. So to me, I define porn addiction as if it's starting to interfere with your life, if you can't go a day or 2 or 3 or a week without it, if you can't go on a vacation with your family without looking at it, all right, then yeah, that means you are dependent upon it. And we don't really have a lot of science between about, health risks. Remember, I believe, was it Arizona? There was some state that called it a public health risk. Well, yeah, if kids aren't going to school, or they're sitting there in class watching porn, yeah, that could be a problem. It could also be a problem if there's a lot of violent content, a lot of assault content, of course, absolutely. But if somebody's watching porn just to kind of, because he's bored, well, then we need to identify before we treat, why is it that you're looking at porn? Okay? Is it because you are bored? You hate your job? Is it because you like the idea of doing something that your spouse doesn't know you're doing? Is it because you you have a psychological, shall we say, makeup that makes you very hypersexual. And so maybe you have mania, maybe you have, high testosterone, maybe you have a hypersexual disorder. So as a clinician, I need to have some pretty honest questions answered as to what it is. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they are unhappy in their marriage. And they're like, look, I can't sleep with my wife unless I look at porn. No, that was not Corey's answer, okay? Corey doesn't look at porn. I don't think he does. If he does, I don't care. But no, that was not Corey's answer. But a lot of people, they're like, look, I'm not attracted to my wife. So I've got to have a picture in my mind. And I've got to have a scene so I could get through the act. Some men have erectile dysfunction. And porn helps them overcome that, whereas their wife doesn't. So let's be honest. If it's an erectile dysfunction issue, okay, well, then we address that. Let's look at the blood flow to the heart. Let's look at any medicines you're on. Let's look at your testosterone, etc. If it's a boredom issue, well, then let's get you, not bored. There's other things you could do, okay? Write a book, read a book, buy a fixer-upper and fix it up and sell it. Get a new job. But if it looks like you really are battling this addiction aspect of it where you just got hooked on it, you will need some help. And there are therapists that treat that. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about because millions upon millions and millions of Americans look at porn. In fact, I think they say porn is one of the largest, most common things looked at on the internet. I thought it would be like GPS or, Walmart, but it's apparently porn. And so, it's a very, very common thing. And, you don't have to use the term addiction. Okay, if you want to go to a doctor and say, look, I watch porn, I'd like to do that less. I'd like to be less enticed to it. You don't have to use the A word, all right? But if you want to try it on your own, distract. Anytime you want to go on the computer, do something else. Maybe don't stay home. Maybe go to church. Going to church, I think, really helps. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.